Welcome to the show with no interference. Get all your NFL needs made by fans for the fans. We are your hosts, West Side, Big Sass, and the Bull. So here we go.
And then you got Nick Bonito.
How do you say Fedarian Mathis? Fedarian? That's definitely a Key and Peele.
And what about Kingsley Enigbear?
Man.
We got DeMarvin Neal.
Perrion Winfrey.
The Voin shower
This
handle.
is definitely an episode of Key and Peele. There's no doubt about it. Without a doubt.
Here's a random one. I'm not even gonna try it. Never mind.
If you just say the name, it's okay. But as soon as you try and read it off a sheet while speaking it, nothing. Useless.
Yeah.
I think the hardest is still Arnold Ebiketie.
Oh, here's one. This is guys later in the draft. Matt Waletsko. Chris Paul. Chris Paul's making a transition to the NFL.
I was like, wait, what?
Some guy from
good old
Tulsa.
Jordan Davis.
There's Luke Gadecki. Gadek.
I saw Gadecki.
Yeah, you don't hear their names like unless it's in the middle of a game. Like you don't hear their names enough.
All right, that guy's definitely not Bernard. It's Bernhard. I will forever call him Bernhard. Bernhard.
It could be Bernard. I don't know properly.
It's definitely Bernard.
Are we sure?
Bernhard.
Can we just call him BR?
I'm pretty sure that's how you
BR.
No, it's Bernard.
BR Ramen.
We're on a nickname basis with him.
That's my good buddy. Down in Central Michigan.
My favorite's still George Karlaftis.
Karloftus. Yeah, it sounds like you're ordering like some
Karlaftis.
Sounds like some Mediterranean dish.
It definitely sounds like something you'd order from a place
Falafel.
you don't know how to say anything on the menu.
Yeah.
Can I have
Let me have an order of your quesadillas.
Your Carloftus? Is your Carloftus any good?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Okay, let's get focused.
Medium rare.
All right. Welcome to the show. This is No Interference. We are your hosts, West Side, Big Sass, and the Bull. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 7, I believe. We are focusing on the 2022. God, I can't talk anymore. The
2022.
all those names jacked up my pronunciation. 2022 NFL Draft, and we are talking about the trenches. O-line, D-line. If you're a smart GM, that is where you build your roster. Inside, out. It has served Andy Reid well, and most people would agree he's one of the best coaches in the last 20, 30 years. So we're going to get started with the O-line. Do you guys just want to go O-line in general? Do you want to start by tackles, guards, centers? What's y'all's preference?
Let's just bunch them all together in one group.
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't prepared for that, but okay. So let's see. Do either of you want to?
I mean, this draft is tackle heavy. I mean, usually.
True.
With offensive linemen, the tackles are going to get drafted. Has there ever been a draft where a center or guard's been drafted? Well, maybe a guard's been drafted before a tackle, or at least a team. Maybe they drafted a guard, but they're like, he has the ability to play tackle.
There was the year that the Titans took Chance Warmack and the Cardinals took that guy,
thought about him.
Walford, both in the top 10, and they both ended up being complete bust. And they're both they're both called the best guard prospects of in forever.
Yeah, Chance Warmack was.
Well, Chance Warmack is the top. Yeah, it's got to be one of the best NFL names for not being turning out to be a great player. Like Warmack is a great offensive guard name.
He proved that you can't be really strong with a beer gut and make it in the NFL.
That's true.
Okay.
But yeah, let's get into it.
I'll just throw out I don't know. He's probably my number one offensive line prospect. So if you guys disagree, go ahead and say it. But Evan Neal out of Alabama. He played left tackle, right tackle, played guard. He succeeded. He's just a massive human being. They have him listed at 6'7", 350, a cut 350 too. He's built right. Like he has the pretty big lower body. He can run block, pass set's good. He moves really well for that frame. I think wherever he gets taken, wherever you want to throw him in your O-line, he's going to make your team better.
Agreed. I don't think he has. Go ahead, Trevor.
I was just going to say, I think they moved him around all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just already having that ability coming into the NFL. You're already you can already be an asset to any team that drafts you, especially, I mean, I think he's probably looked at to come in right away and be a left tackle or I guess maybe a right tackle. But the fact that he knows how to play all the other positions, that's just a plus.
Yeah, he played right tackle 2 years ago and then left guard too. He doesn't have that many weaknesses. The only thing I saw from watching his film and all that was that he when he tries to anchor down, he does get pushed back a little bit. And when he's like kind of off balance, he leans a little too far forward into his blocks instead of trying to get them hips down.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a perfect pass blocker or he's not like a highlight run blocker, but he does everything to an A-, B+, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's big and he's athletic.
Big and athletic. Yep.
He doesn't have any like crazy injury concerns. Like I know a lot of those big like offensive tackle prospects, like half of them come in with like, oh, his knee's a little wonky, but I don't know. I think any team in the top 5, I see a lot of time the tackles seem to be falling as the edge rushers are going up, but I think any team in the top 5 could take them, throw them in their O-line, and their team is instantly improved for it. The Jaguars just got Trevor Lawrence. I know you want to get one of the sexy pass rushers, but why not just protect your future
offensive lineman can be sexy?
Why not protect your future franchise quarterback for the rest of his career?
Yep, and whoever
you
gets
said
him will
when
have
you
him
first
forever.
mentioned, when you first mentioned him, Taylor, you said he's cut. Was he playing cut? Like, what's his real playing weight? Is it like what he's like at now?
The problem is you can't really believe it because I think at one point I saw someone had him listed at like 370. I see a lot of places have him listed at 350, but
I've seen him listed from 370, like you just said, to like 330.
Yeah.
Well, the combine
PFF has him 337.
At the combine, he looked pretty lean, so I think regardless, he carries the weight well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, watching his tape from last year, at least, he has like huge legs. I don't know if that is some of the issues with overextending himself and kind of like balance issues like RJ was mentioning. But I mean, if he can stay at that more lean weight for an offensive lineman, I guess that'll help.
Mm-hmm. And the things I brought up, he can easily fix as soon as he gets to the next level, just coaching and practice.
I mean, he's played so many different positions. He obviously can be coached.
He's also almost failure-proof because it's like, throw him at left tackle. If he's getting burnt by like the edges, throw him at right tackle. If for whatever reason he's still getting lit up at right tackle, you can still put him at right guard, and he'll probably be a Pro Bowl right guard for the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm. The versatility is definitely something you got to look for. It's great.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not the case for any other positions, like technique-wise, but I feel like, especially for offensive line, you can really coach guys to be better than they really are because it's so technique-based. I know the bigger offensive linemen that are athletic freaks, they have that advantage. But there's guys in the NFL that are smaller, bigger, that maybe came from smaller schools or didn't play football that much, or they played a different position and they got really good coaching and they became Pro Bowl offensive linemen.
That's all the Eagles do. It's all they do. Jason Peters, Lane Johnson,
Jason Kelce.
The guy right now, your left tackle.
Jordan Moore.
It's like, we don't even care if you even went to college. Just if you're a big guy and you can run like a 4.8, we'll turn you into a Pro Bowl, no problem. You're gonna be a Hall of Famer as long as you come to us.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about that. There's some guys in this class that they might have weaknesses, but you can coach them up.
Yeah. Well, that's enough about Evan Neal. We can stop gloating about him.
I want to talk about Icky.
Okay, Ikem Ekwonu.
Icky.
He's serving pancakes daily. He should be working at that.
I think he can come in just because he's so physical. I feel like he can come in day one and be like the most dominant offensive lineman. I know especially as a run blocker. Like if the team like the Eagles they're not going to be able to get him. But if they were in position to draft him and he started at right guard, I feel like he could be like a Pro Bowler his first year, just based off of like our
So
scheme.
I see a lot of people are like, with Icky, you take him hoping he could develop into a high quality left tackle, but based on his traits, he could be a perennial All-Pro guard, like without much improvement. He's going to make his money in run blocking. I guarantee you 8 times his rookie year, he's going to end up on some morning sports show friggin' Michael Oring someone from the blind side downfield, throwing him over a fence.
Pancaking the crap out of him.
Yeah, that's all he does. He's just serving hotcakes 24/7.
Yeah. Explosive as contact. It's pretty impressive. He just pushes people around, tosses
if you
grown
want
men like babies.
Yeah. Watching his highlights, his arms are big. I mean, they're all big, but like he like throws guys down like they're coming off the edge, and he just grabs them and he drives them into the ground, pancaking people nonstop. I just like seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem passive at all. I mean, that could possibly hurt you as a tackle if you aren't light on your feet and you're overextending yourself. Mm-hmm. But I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's got some really powerful tree trunk legs. He doesn't get moved very often.
Yeah, every time you look, like you Google his name, you can go to any site. Within the first 2 sentences, you'll see most feared offensive lineman in college, most dominant run blocker in college, highlight tape blocker in the run game. Like that's all you see on his write-ups. I don't know. He deserves. I think he deserves to go, top 5. He's going to make a team better. I'm a Titans fan. Titans are all about run the ball. We don't care what era we're in. If the Titans could throw him at left guard next to Taylor Lewan and say, hey, Henry, just whatever number he gets, I don't know. Henry, just look for Ekwonu and follow that jersey downfield. Like,
take it to the house.
Yeah. It'd be, dream comes true.
I agree.
You guys look at Tyler Linderbaum's highlights at all?
So
I didn't
I
put
don't
him on my top 5 list just because.
So that's the thing.
You said you did put him in your top 5 or did?
Was a center.
I write down like 5. Like I take serious notes about like for
We don't care about centers here. Anyone can go pass the ball to the quarterback and just be a speed bump.
A speed bump.
I wouldn't mind the Eagles drafting him to be Jason Kelce's.
Well, that's the comp.
Protege.
Everyone comps him to Jason Kelce. Pro Football Focus says he's the best center prospect they've ever seen. I mean, that's not going back all time, but just since they've started. He is a bit undersized, but it's a center, so who cares? He's 6'3", 290. He's not like a freak athlete by NFL standards, but it's more about his movement ability and just his technique is pretty darn flawless. He has that sort of like wrestling leverage mentality where you might be bigger, you might be faster, but once he hikes the ball, he's gonna know the play, get in position, and get the job done. And if you put him in an offense where he doesn't have to worry about just being just an anchor, he can get on the move, get to the second level, pull out, and get in front of a running back. It's just, I don't know where he's going to go. Like, talented, yes, but needed, I don't know. I see him falling to the bottom of the first round.
I'd say bottom half.
Yeah, I feel like I like him a lot, but like you were just saying, he could be a player that's dependent on the team he goes to scheme-wise. You were talking about his fluidness or fluidity, whatever the correct word would be, but being able to snap the ball and getting his hands on defenders or getting out in front of defenders in a screen type game or anything of that nature on the outside. I know he's not as fast as like Jason Kelce or something like that, but
I mean,
I think he could, depending on the team, could be plug-in.
If you just look past the size and physicality and just look at it at a point of, here's the play, he gets to where he's supposed to, blocks who he's supposed to, hardly ever messes up. I mean, that's about as near perfect as a football. If everyone on your team did that, you would win every game. But I don't know.
I think we all have the same consensus on this guy.
I think he's talented, but because of where he plays, he's gonna fall. I mean, look at free agency. Who's the center from the Ravens that just left? Bozeman.
Bradley Bozeman, yeah.
Yeah. He went into test free agency, and he ended up signing like a 1-year cheap deal with the Panthers after he turned down a decent deal with the Ravens because he was expecting to be the best center in the market and get a big deal, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fair enough. I've seen some things. Some people have Charles Cross being the first tackle off the board.
We kind of talked about this a bit.
Yeah, me and RJ were talking about this kind of when we were getting set up. The thought process is a little changing, and just depending on your team's philosophy. Evan Neal, best of both worlds. Icky, run blocking.
Big Maul.
Charles Cross is not exactly what Icky is to pass blocking. He's not that elite, but he is a very good pass blocker. And if you're a team that is going to be like the Cardinals, I know they're not high enough to get him, but if you're a team that focuses more on the pass, he's a great pass protector, and he's still got a good body. He's 6'5", 307, real athletic. He only allowed 44 pressures and almost 600 pass blocking snaps. So,
yep, it's a 2.4% pressure rate, just like what's his name? Evan Neal. Him and him both, they're tied with that.
Yeah, it's all about what you want for your scheme, but I don't think you could go wrong with any of the top 3 tackles. And it's not like Charles Cross. It's not like he can't run block. It's like, but he's not like Evan Neal and especially Icky. Like, they're plus run blockers. Charles Cross probably is a solid run blocker.
It's just, I think PFF said he was inexperienced in the pro style run blocking and zone schemes that he can obviously learn when he gets drafted. He's getting a lot of comps to Laramie Tunsil too. This pass blocking, super light on his feet, uses his length. He's very, very solid. Doesn't get pushed around a lot.
Dancing bear is what they are.
He got better and better every year too. You can see that with his grades.
All right.
Did Tunsil get drafted in the top 5 by Miami?
Didn't he fall because of his uncle released the gas mask?
Yes.
He fell to like...
He was supposed to get drafted
like 10 or 11, I think?
I think they thought he was going to draft further than that, but then...
Because the Titans traded back.
I forgot about that whole gas mask.
The Titans traded back. He was still on the clock, and I was like, oh, cool, the Titans can get him. And the Titans drafted the tackle out of Michigan State who now plays for the Browns. I am drawing a blank on his name, but whatever. And Tunsil fell a little bit. That was a good comparison, though, honestly. I'm going to throw out who my favorite offensive lineman in the draft was until he started getting a little overrated. That's Trevor Penning. He's a bully. He is just mean, nasty, out of northern Iowa, 6'7", 325 pounds, super athletic. He just wants to embarrass you and just shame your family name on national television. I think for offensive linemen, if you seem like just that mean bully type guys, like that's who I want on my offensive line. I think Penning could potentially be a left tackle if he develops, but I think maybe right tackle or guard for him. I'm a little worried about his penchant for getting penalties just for after the whistle stuff and whatnot. But football is a violent sport, so when you bring that attitude to the field in the trenches, it definitely helps. I do see him in some mock drafts and some people talking him going into breaking the top 10. I do think that's a little too early for him.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he could be I think top 10 would definitely be too early. If somebody can get him between 15, 20, 25, I think it's a good pick. He had one of the better 40-yard dashes for a lineman, right?
His was like a 4.8, 4.88, like.
So he's big and he can move.
Oh yeah, he can definitely.
I don't think he's like play style comparable to Lane Johnson. But like the height and athleticism combo. Stick him at right tackle. I think he could be a good player.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite the athlete that Lane Johnson is. Some people have compared him to Trent Williams, but that's not fair to Trent Williams to just show exactly how good he is. But if you want to say his ceiling could be Trent Williams, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. You think he's more of a mauler type?
Yeah, I think you draft him, throw him at right tackle, maybe move him to guard, and don't put him in too tough of a pass blocking situations. His athleticism can definitely help him, but he's still a little stiff. His lateral movement, he's better going forward than he is to his side, which worries me about left tackles. But he's raw, so you can work with it.
All right, who else we got?
I think my favorite going in is going to be Kenyan Green. I'd mentioned him before in a previous pod. We did a little draft talk.
Texas A&M,
Mr. Versatile himself. Played every position but center. Yeah, every position but center last year. I love how fast he gets to the second level, and then when he makes his contact, he just pops and he's off. Does his thing. Very flexible and elusive. Not elusive, but you know what I'm saying. He gets his lower half can bend without breaking.
Yeah, he's really good. The thing with him though is, again, I don't know where he's going to go. Like, I've seen people hyping him up to like in the teens to early 20s, and then I've seen other people talking about him as a second rounder. The thing is with guards is, I don't know if there's an elite guard in this class, and there's definitely a tier 1 and then a bunch of other people, but Kenyan Green is in the running to be into possibly being the first guard off a true guard taken off the board. Mm-hmm. While we're on the subject of guard, I like a little better Zion Johnson. He's got a thicker lower body. He's definitely he's going to make his money run blocking. I think Kenyan Green has better pass sets. But Zion, if your whole thing is move this defender to here so we can get a hole in the run game, Zion Johnson can do that. He's got strong hands, thick lower body. He can be an anchor at either left or right guard. Also, Titans fan, old school football. I like him.
He's also a Maryland boy. He's from up in Marlboro. It's pretty cool.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of these offensive linemen in this draft have a lot of flexibility to where they can play or where a team might want to put them, and then the athleticism to go with it. And then as we were talking, I don't know if we were talking before we started recording or not about coaching ability for offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. It's about technique. But you mentioned it's a lot of technique you can learn as you go, and further your career.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one reason why this offensive line class is so deep.
Mm-hmm. A lot of versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other players you guys want to highlight?
I have a guy, but I don't want to jump in if you have someone else you like.
No, you can go ahead.
All right. Tyler Smith.
I like Trevor Penning a lot, and we already talked about him.
Trevor Smith out of Tulsa. Not Trevor Smith. Tyler Smith.
A lot of Trevors, huh?
Yeah, Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. He's raw. He's 6'5", 320. He's still, playing in the FBS, so it's not one of these smaller schools. He needs work. He played tackle in college. He probably bumps into guard in the NFL. But of all the offensive linemen in the draft, he's probably has the most power. And he's just a lump of clay, like a massive pile of clay to be molded. Extremely raw. He's going to have headaches his rookie year, maybe even his second year. But he's big, unmatched strength. If he gets his hands on you in the run game, you're going for a ride. I much rather like him as maybe a high second round pick, but even in the back end of the first round, like if you're one of those teams in the back of the first round and you are one of the better teams in the league who have decent rosters and you just want to add a mauler to your run game, just throw up guard and just be like, hey, goal line, just put him in, say, running to whoever your running back is, follow him. He's going to get that 1-2 yard push. Just get in his back and you'll get the goal line. I mean, that's where you make your bread.
Mm-hmm. I think you may have just convinced the team to draft him.
Should be his agent.
I'll take that 10% or whatever it is.
I want to talk about the Jordan Mailata clone.
Daniel Fillet. Yeah.
I was wondering how you said it.
Out of Minnesota.
Yeah, he's almost 400 pounds.
I mean, 6'9".
Yeah.
Yeah, he's free.
PFF.
Australian boy.
Yeah, they have him. They put the shades of and their player comp. Their player comp hasn't existed.
Really?
Yeah, so that says a lot. Because then I think even Evan Neal was getting a lot of comparisons too for his athleticism.
Yeah.
But this guy is a complete freak.
So this is the type of player that. So I know the size; he's way bigger. But wow, I just lost it. Who's the tackle that the Ravens traded to the Chiefs?
Brown.
Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
Orlando Brown is much more polished, but coming out of Oklahoma, that we still weren't sure about him. And when the Ravens drafted him, everyone said, okay, he's a massive human being. Just put him at right tackle. He can move forward and not get stopped. And in the pass game, at least just tell him, cheat inside. And by the time the defensive end gets around you, the quarterback better throw the ball already. Like, there comes a point where you're so big that you get in the league.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's only been playing football for 5 years.
That was pretty impressive, too.
Yeah, playing football for 5 years, and he's projected to be a third, fourth-ish round
and
pick.
It's not like he's like just like a giant sloth out there. Like he is athletic for being, again, just a mountain of a man.
Yeah, I mean, the players aren't going to be able to move him in the NFL, and he can move a little bit. So imagine a giant mountain coming at you full speed. He could probably take out like 3 defensive players, and the linebackers are getting smaller and more athletic. He could literally just jump sideways and clothesline 3 all. Look at
Jordan Mailata.
Could you imagine him pulling in your face? Oh my God! Jordan on the edge. Oh God!
Jordan Mailata has so many highlights where he kicks back into his stance, and he literally, like palm thrusts both the tackle and the guard, and he stuns them, and he gets set, and he's still in his stance, like, all right, I'm going to block you with my left side and you with my right side, and it's like, and it does the trick, and it's like. Your jaw just drops because you're like, even some of the elite tackles can't do that because there comes a point where you're not big enough or you're not strong enough to do this. And it's like, he is.
You know what that's from? That's from stiff arming people
in rugby.
Watch
I've seen it. It's not fair.
Yeah, he literally like puts people in the dirt and they end up on the other side.
It's also surviving Australia.
Yeah, true.
All the snakes and
fighting kangaroos.
Dingoes.
That was the worst joke I've ever made in my life.
Boxing kangaroos. Any other names y'all want to throw out?
I'm sure this class is so deep. We could probably talk for another 2 hours about offensive linemen, but turn them off.
Yeah,
we can move on to defensive linemen if you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of other guys, like there's Cole Strange, Dylan Parham, Bernard Raymond.
It's Bernhard
Raymond. There's they're very talented. They're going to go early in the draft. You see a lot of versatility. It's all these prospects. They're athletic and they have experience at multiple positions, and they're also. I'm not going to lie. They're also good. I'm not saying they aren't good, but they're athletic and they have versatility, which I mean that goes such a long way when you're looking at a 21 to 24-year-old prospect and you're like, can this guy make my team better? So props to them. But yeah, we're moving on to the other side of the ball, to the D-line. Because again, build your team from the inside out. That's how you win. Don't want to be the Chargers and you get blown off the ball all game and you have this talented roster and you can't make the playoffs because Josh Jacobs runs the ball up the middle and gets 10 yards when everyone knew he was going to run the ball up the middle.
Great example.
And this is where the Chargers fans stop listening.
Get out of here. All right, so
come back.
D-line. Either of you want to get started?
So we can just go right in with Jordan Davis. He's a big boss, pretty athletic. I think the combine really helped his draft stock. But I would like to see how he does because he really didn't get that many snaps. His conditioning is definitely in question.
That's the thing.
You can't.
It's like, was it? He only played like 30% because he could only play 30%? Or was it Georgia only played him 30% because they only needed him for 30%?
Yeah, exactly. So we got to figure out how,
I lean toward he only played 30% because that's all he could play. I mean, his weight, I saw all these numbers of 350, 360, 370. In an interview, I think he said he wanted to play at 335 in the NFL. Maybe that gives him a little bit more juice, but I don't know.
Does he need to play that many snaps in the NFL? He can come in. Most teams run a rotation anyways, at least the good defensive lines that have depth. I would love to plug him in on first and second down and have him just put his big body in the A-gap and wreck people. and then go run off the field for a few plays.
What if they go no huddle and let him run off the field? That's what Alabama did.
It doesn't matter.
That's what Alabama did in the championship game. They said, we ain't letting you sub out. You're sitting here, big boy.
Well, that happens to people anyways. So
yeah, but what if you burn him? What if the team traps him on the field for a 10-minute, 90-yard drive in the first quarter? He's sitting there gassed with the oxygen mask sucking wind, and you're like, I can't play anymore, coach, and you just lost him for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully NFL teams, some guys just can't get into better shape. Hopefully the NFL, whoever drafts him, will work on his conditioning if it really is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were just talking about the Chargers. I mean, a guy like that, I feel like would instantly come in and help you run defense.
100% right.
I mean, maybe he's not worth the hype he's getting as far as being a top 10, 15 pick. But, I mean, like I said, I would love to have him on my team.
Yeah.
The things RJ
My
highlighted.
thing is, I see him more as a D-line enhancer. And I just don't know if that's worth a high first-round pick. Like, if he doesn't go to I know, but I'm just if he doesn't go to the Chargers, if he doesn't go to the Chargers, I don't know where he's going to go. Like, I was even thinking to myself, okay, Titans.
I would love the Eagles to
Titans
draft him.
have a good D-line. If you have him and Big Hefe, and the other team's like, we need to double team Jeffrey Simmons because he's a beast of a defensive tackle, but we can't leave one guy to defend Jordan Davis. Yeah, that's a conundrum to have. Also, defensive ends are both really good. But if he's only playing 30% of the snaps the game,
we'll have to see if he can get enough snaps just to make a difference.
He's definitely talented. I don't think he's Vince Wilfork. I think he's more so Casey Hampton. But what would Casey Hampton's value even be in today's NFL?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if he was just used to eat up double teams, still some value there, but not as high as he has been jumping in recent weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I know he doesn't have any ability as like a pass rusher, and that's not what he would be drafted for. But if he's the size he has, and if it does translate to the NFL, he can. I mean, if he can just throw offensive linemen back into the quarterback, that's all you need him to do. Don't let a quarterback step up into the pocket, and he's a big body, and like RJ just said, taking up double teams. There's things he can do with his size and the ability he does have that can contribute.
If a team drafts him early, and I do not hear we drafted him because we think he could become the next on-field talent-wise, he could become the next Albert Haynesworth. I don't want to hear it. Because Albert Haynesworth was a 6'6", 350 disruptive interior demon. If you're not drafting him saying we hope in 3 years he can become that's kind of Albert Haynesworth's career path, then I don't know what you're doing. If you're saying we drafted him this early so he can be a run stuffer on obvious rundowns, I'm like, you wasted your pick.
Just like I was saying last episode about teams having multiple first-round picks. I mean, you have to. I mean, he's the type of player where you can have the luxury of doing that. But I agree with you. I think he would. I think he'll probably end up being. I think he serves better bang for your buck if he's after 20.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if a team reaches for him.
Yeah, definitely super impressed with that 40 time at his size, though. Running 4.78 at that size is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So he can use some of that to his advantage.
Maybe.
We shall see.
Like a young Don Tarapo.
But wasn't he a little overdrafted?
Yeah, but he did his thing for a little while. All
right, so let's go to I guess, I'll just keep it simple. Aiden Hutchinson, potentially the number one player getting drafted. Defensive end out of Michigan. He's. Go ahead.
Can I just ask a question? Do you guys think he's a transcendent player worthy of a number one overall pick? Or do you think he's just for sure has the ability to be
he might have
a good starter in this league?
I think like Evan Neal, he maybe has the highest floor. of anyone. He's like what 6'6", 6'7", 260 pounds, ran a 4.7. His handwork is already NFL level. Like, he's a great technician. He can play the 2 technique. He can play the 3 technique. He's better. I think he's better at 2 technique coming off the edge. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I just said, he's big. He got a good frame. He's fast. His hand technique is really good. He's not just a pass rusher. He can defend the run.
I think if you draft him, it kind of sounds stupid what I'm saying, because if he's like a 10-time Pro Bowler, that's a good pick no matter what. I'm just trying to. This draft has a lot of talent, and I just feel like from what I've watched with him on tape, I'm not personally blown away. I think he's good. He doesn't have the crazy
first step,
like physical. Yeah, like the first step and like just like the body. There's nothing that like whoa, like you like Clowney.
We're watching Chase Young.
Like he looked
college.
Chase Young, yeah, they're just like freaks. I don't know if he's the player I'd want my team to pick with the first overall pick. Like, if that's what everybody's saying, he's the best player in this draft, I mean, I would think about trading back. Different story.
So, okay, I'm kind of just pulling this out. So this isn't a quotable thing. Let's say he's like a Cameron Jordan, right? He isn't going to be going for the sack record every year, but he's going to get you that 10 to 12 sacks every year, lock down that edge run game. Whatever side of the field you put him on, left or right, you never have to worry about it for 10 to 12 years. I mean, and you have a very, very, very good feeling that that's what he will be able to do. Like, his bust rate, based on a lot of numbers and charts people do, is very, very low.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the Jaguars, who never do anything right.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, I do get what you're saying. Like, we can just transition.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
We can transition from him to Kayvon Thibodeaux.
I personally don't love him either.
Well, we are transitioned, so
yeah, he's a pretty good speed rusher.
And I'll let RJ maybe pick up on it a little bit more, but he has a little more question marks. He is a little more bendy, fluid athleticism. He does have a insane first step. He could come in and, just from a pass rush standpoint, maybe vie for those higher eye-popping sack stats. But there are question marks about his effort and are you going to get like all the juice out of him?
He didn't seem to have too many moves watching him on tape, like shake and bacon, spin moves, stunts, fakes, anything like that. He kind of just seemed like you were saying his first step.
He's going off first
step. He relies a lot on that first step burst.
It's first step and natural talent.
Mm.
Yeah.
But to have a first step, he's pretty big to be able to move as fast as he does, though. So maybe like.
Do you think? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
PFF says they're like a raw Myles Garrett, and I agree. From watching his tape earlier, he was one of the last ones I watched. Actually, I definitely like that first step is real. But at the same time, like you said, you got to incorporate some moves. You got to have a plan going into every pass rush, like what you're going to do. You can't just expect to blow by him every time in the NFL. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Do you think he would serve better in the NFL? Not anything he did with Oregon, but do you think he would serve better with his hand in the ground in a 4-3 scheme, or maybe a more versatile standing up sometimes on the edge 3-4?
I would lean towards the 3-4 type because of how he takes advantage of that. I think every time I saw him in college, he was standing up most of the time, and that's his thing. But he'll have to develop some more moves for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters
to be consistent.
I don't know if it matters if whatever your team runs 4-3-3-4, just get him on the edge. Just there's no point in messing around. Just get him on the edge. In like a 7 technique, or you can even go wide 9, honestly, and just let him go. That's if you do anything else, you're restricting him, honestly.
Yeah, at the very least, he'll be a situational pass rusher. Maybe you can start him off at that and see how he does, and then if he's more consistent.
You're taking him top 3. He better not be a situational pass rusher. He better come
That's
in and steal that edge.
At the very least, at the
very least, then he's a bust.
I feel like if he could add run defending to his game, and I'm trying to think of where I'm trying to go here. I'm just trying to had comps to Brandon Graham came into my head. Mm-hmm. I feel like Brandon Graham has a lot more tools, and he's also like a 12-year vet or 10-year vet, whatever. But I was just thinking if he could add a little bit more to his game. Brandon Graham has that really quick first step, and he can drive into the quarterback, the lineman into the quarterback. He also can go around the offensive lineman. But
yeah,
I think he's a good player.
Yeah, and Thibodeaux does a really good job of bending, and he's real flexible when he's
he does have lineman. I do put a lot of can't think of the word. I am very high on the people who have the ability to bend around that edge, because it does make a difference. Like if you can't bend and you're a little stiff, and the tackle gets the set on you and are in position, you're limited in how you can react to that. And that's one thing that has always kind of haunted Clowney. He's very stiff. He cannot bend. He has to beat you with his speed or power. And if you counter that, he's blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you want to move to?
Who else do we got?
I got a whole bag, but whoever you want to go with next.
Start talking about Senor George Karloftis. It's a nice dinner name.
Karloftis.
Yeah, he's just a straight power rusher, pretty much. He's strong. He can bull rush. He does good with putting one hand into somebody and then using his other hand to do what he needs to do, either reach for the quarterback, smack somebody else. He definitely needs to improve his speed, his finesse pass rushing, his spin moves. He would spin around. He would sit in circles. He would sit in one spot, and he would try it a lot too. Like I don't know why he wasn't focused more on his power moves. Just bull rush and doing other stuff like that, grabbing rips. Because I think he would have a lot more success just focusing on that.
Yeah, you're honestly drafting his body. He's 6'4", 275. Mm-hmm. He runs a 4.7, real broad shoulders, long arms. In college, he was winning on speed and bull rushing and just out athleticism, length, powering people. That's poorly worded, but that's what he was doing. But again, you can, whatever you want to teach him, whatever your D-line coach wants him to do, you can be like, hey, this is what we coach, this is what we do, and he'll learn that, because he's very raw. He doesn't have a lot of real bad habits to break, and he's got the body for it. He's not as polished as Thibodeaux or Hutchinson. He's not the pass rusher or the edge defender they are, but you see what he could turn into. Maybe,
fair enough.
Again, I'm not amazing with these comps, but Randy Gregory-esque. He's not quite as long as Randy Gregory, but that's what just initially pops in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think as long as he focuses on just mastering what he's good at, which is the power moves and that bull rush, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, get the long arms to stack up, power, get to collapse the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've seen.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just gonna say I've seen Trevon Walker climbing up some.
Well, this is the thing with him. He's on Georgia, which maybe was the best defense in college history. He's 6'5", 275, ran a 4.51. That alone basically gets you. You're a first round pick. That alone.
Yeah.
His production numbers were not there, but he also wasn't playing a ton. But for his size, again, 6'5", 275, and it's not just sprint in a straight line speed. He can move. He can drop back if needed.
He can play some coverage.
I have some hesitations because really quickly it went from second round pick, maybe late first. Okay, now he's in the 20s. Then the combine hit, and it's like, is this guy the number one pick in the draft? And it was like, what is happening here?
Hype train.
I mean, if you look at his numbers and compare it to the rest of the group, he's by far overall maybe the most athletic defensive end. When you consider his size, that has ever came out. Maybe.
Yeah, that size speed combo is hard to pass up. He doesn't really need too much work to make an impact in the NFL.
Do you think he has any comparability, RJ, to what's Washington's?
Say Montez Sweat, a little bit of sweat action. I was definitely feeling it because of the height, size speed ratio. Yeah, I could definitely see it, but I don't know. Sweat's definitely one of the rare breeds to actually work out too.
I feel like Sweat coming out had a little bit more fluidity in his pass rush, pre-made for the NFL.
That's why we traded up to the end of that first round to get him. So I was actually really surprised we did it. It was awesome.
I was just watching Trevon Walker's tape. He's really long and he has that speed and everything. So it just reminded me of him.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I was trying to see what some people have him compared to.
I wish I remember what Sweat's 40 time was.
He ran like a 4.
Wasn't he like 4.33?
Some crazy, yeah.
It was something. Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm gonna Google it actually.
It was definitely like a 4.3. This I know. Yeah, I see it for comparisons for him. A lot of people are saying Rashawn Gary, but he's been good for the Packers on the edge, and he's maybe coming into his prime. I'm just hesitant, and it's just friggin' Georgia, because they were so stacked, and even their one defensive end who was maybe their best defensive end, he's not even a thing anymore because I haven't read up on the story, but he has some rape or sex crime thing against him, and he was the best of all of them.
Yeah, I just looked up Sweat's 40 time was a 4.41, so he's running wide receiver speed out there.
But
Trayvon Walker, it's you know what, we can just match him up with Trevor Penning, a player I really liked when it was okay, they can be in the bottom of the first, but now if they go top 10, I don't like them. I don't like their value.
Yeah, I agree for the value. Exactly what I was saying. Yeah. Just like with the quarterbacks, we talked about how if they were all projected to go in the second, third, fourth round, then it'd be oh yeah, perfect. But since we know teams are going to reach up, it's just not the best value for your picks.
I want to go back to the interior, to my favorite prospect, maybe my favorite prospect in the entire draft, actually. Devontae Wyatt, also out of Georgia, the other defensive tackle not named Jordan Davis. He's 6'3", 304, similar to Jordan Davis. He ran an impressive 40. He ran a 4.76, I think, just a smidge faster than Jordan Davis. But he is extremely explosive. He has pass rush moves. A lot of times Georgia would use him as a spy to just, just to contain the QB. He can play the run. He can shoot gaps. He has moves, like pass rush moves, to go to. I consistently see him being drafted in the mid-20s, but I don't know why he's not being projected to go earlier. I think he's the most dominant interior defensive lineman in this draft, and the league has shown that if you can get a push up the middle, that is maybe more important than anything else.
Mm-hmm. And his numbers are a little, they don't look as eye-popping because like Georgia would scheme their linebackers, blitzing linebackers to get open and just let their defensive tackles eat up all those blocks.
Yeah.
His first step was pretty impressive for a big guy, 300 pounds. Definitely excited to see where he goes. It's crazy. Georgia has 3. I didn't even think about how they have 3 possible first-round picks right here on the defensive side.
They could have a lot of first-round picks. Their team. I mean, there's a reason why they won.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that I feel like it's similar to offensive line with the depth in this draft where they can play different positions and stuff. I feel like the defensive lineman in this draft, and him in particular, if you can put him on a team that he's not going to be the focal point. Obviously, he's a rookie and he still has things to work on. But if he can just harness what he's really good at and get in there on a rotation, I think he could be a day one contributor to the right team.
Yeah, for sure. He can defend the run, and he's going to rack up pressures in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm some genius draft scout, so he could be a complete bust, but he might be my favorite prospect in the entire draft. There's another...
You're a designated genius.
Maybe. There's another defensive tackle I like, Travis Jones out of UConn. Mm-hmm. He is, he's a big body. He's 6'4", 325. He can definitely play nose tackle. But unlike Jordan Davis, he did rack up a ton of pressures, and he had a decent Senior Bowl. He's someone I see sneaking into the first round. Listen, if you want to take Jordan Davis early, take him. I'd be much more happy getting Travis Jones early second, late first. I think he has already shown he can do what people are hoping Jordan Davis can turn into. I don't have worries about his snap count, or if he needs to develop pass rush moves. He's not as big, he's not as athletic, but he's a better football player, I think.
Yeah, I think it's him, like you were saying, with the first overall pick. Well, who they have him projected to be. What's his name?
Jordan Davis. Oh,
no.
Wait.
Aiden
Hutchinson.
Yeah. I feel like with Travis Jones, his floor is higher than Jordan Davis, but Jordan Davis might have a higher ceiling based off of what he could be. But like you were just saying, Travis Jones is another guy. I've been saying it over and over. He's a guy you can plug in right away, and he can be a brick wall in the middle of your defensive line. And again, a team like the Chargers, I'm sure, would love to have him. And if he's in that later round, early second round, I think any team would love to have him.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can never have too many run stuffers on your team. Start with that, and you can take care of other things later. Build in the trenches, and he would be a good addition.
RJ,
not sure he has the tools to add to, like he'll become like an amazing guy who can get near 10 sacks or anything as a defensive tackle or nose tackle, whatever he'll be, but he can be a vacuum. Yeah. A vacuum for running backs.
He's options for schemes, though. But RJ, do you have any other guys on the D line that you like or have an opinion about?
Not in particular, no.
I have one more that
I like David Ojobo.
Yeah, I realized when we started, I didn't even have him on my board since he got injured. I don't know where he's gonna go. Like someone might.
I just like his highlights. He's fast.
He's
fast.
a soccer player that got big, wanted to dabble in football. Listen, I don't know if he would be better off at outside linebacker coming off the edge, but his hype train was insane, and then he got hurt. And we can talk about that. I know RJ, you were real mad about that at his pro day when he got hurt, and he was just laying there, and they were like, "Can someone please drag him off the field so we can continue?"
Yeah,
that was a bad look.
Yep, and because I got confused too. Originally, I thought you said it was when Larry Ojobo went because his name's just familiar. I got those so confused. I was like, damn.
Oh.
Yeah, I looked it up. I was like, wait a minute. That wasn't Ojobo. Oh, Jobu. I was like, dang it. But it's disgraceful. Yeah. I mean, they were so nonchalant about it. It was weird.
They picked up the ball and they're like, let's move to the other side of the field. Someone else can take care of this.
Yeah, it's like someone, poke him with a stick. Is he allowed, like what?
Yeah.
You want to see a dead body?
He's got a good body. He's twitchy. And listen, to go from I don't know how many years experience he has. Isn't it like he's only been playing football for like 3 or 4 years, something like that?
Yeah, less than 5 years. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, and you are going to be a top 15 pick. Like that's crazy.
I don't like the comparison to Deion Jordan because he didn't really pan out that well. Being that long, just long, lanky, not so much solid.
He's turned out better lately.
It took him 7 years.
Yeah, fair
enough. But it happened though.
He was out of Oregon, right?
Yeah.
He went to the Dolphins, and it's just I don't think they maybe schemed him right either.
But also he didn't. His playing weight wasn't like. You know what I'm saying?
Light.
Like you had to scheme his rushes, and the Dolphins drafted him thinking he was going to be just an elite defensive end from the get, and that's their own fault.
Yep.
Ojobo. I just watching his highlights. You can tell he's a soccer player. The way he runs around the field, he looks like I don't know how to explain it. And then once he gets hands on the quarterback's going down. I don't know.
Maybe it's just
like
finesse.
You said, he had the injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had the injury. Yeah, and when he gets locked up with defenders too, I know he's not a bull rusher or anything, but he knows what to do. He knows moves to make and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Plus, these injuries are
we'll see.
Getting less and less worrisome with the way modern medicine. I mean, these players are coming back better than ever most of the time. And we were talking about it with some of the wide receivers that went down.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't really worried about Drake London or Jameson Williams either.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a chronic thing.
The other defensive end that I really like is Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little facts about him. He's 6'5", 254. I just closed out the page that has just 40 time written on, but he ran a solid time. He was at Georgia, and he wasn't getting his playing time at Georgia. So
he went to Florida State.
So he moved to Florida State now that they have the new transfer portal. And he went there, didn't mess around, and he put up 14 sacks in 2021 at Florida State.
Yeah.
He's long. He's
thick.
He's
like
got a near perfect defensive ends frame. He had a great Senior Bowl. Not like perfect, but he can set the edge. Like he can come out, set the edge on the other team's tackle, look for the run, go get the quarterback. For his value, he might be my favorite defensive end in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, those legs he has, if you can put him down in a stance and he can drive into an offensive lineman, I don't think there's a lot of offensive linemen that are going to want to do that for a whole game.
Don't think the gap between Aidan Hutchinson and Jermaine Johnson is that big.
Yeah. He ran a 4.58, and that's pretty impressive. Being 6'5",
faster than I thought he ran.
260 almost.
He's for sure going to be a first round pick. I think he's going to be in the middle of the first round. I've seen him mocked to the Eagles a few times. I think he's going to come in and he's going to vie to be a 10 sack a year guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it, I think.
Yeah, I like him just based on his tape. He seems like he has the physical ability. He may not be the greatest athlete, but just his physique, he can put work in on the football field, and just being able to drive linemen back and drive ball carriers back. I don't think he's a guy that'll lose a lot of tackles. Yeah, I like him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in good condition too, man. He averaged 61 snaps a game. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Good conditioning.
He is shredded.
Just before we kind of close this up, and I mean, if you guys have more guys to talk about, go ahead. Another guy, Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. He's 6'4", 260. He's, again, one of those raw players who's definitely been rising up draft boards. But his burst off the line is some of the best in the draft. And again, I don't know where he's going to go. So many players are just dropping and rising. And one day I'll see him first round, and one day I might see him third round. But he has burst in the right system. I think he's a left end in the NFL, maybe. Pair him up against some of those slower right tackles and just let him get easy sacks. But he's someone to look out for.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of solid players in this draft. I don't know if there's a ton of bust in this draft, whereas there's also not a ton of elite talent, like normal, like obvious first round franchise changing players. I think there's a lot of players that would be great to add to teams. That's why I kind of like my thing with like Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think he's going to be a guy that comes in and makes the Jaguars defense change the Jaguars defense. I think he'd be a good cog in a good defense, or be I shouldn't say cog, but I think he can be one of the better players on a good defense. I just don't think he's going to be the elite transcendent type franchise player. This is a
draft where if you have the teams that have a ton of top 100 picks are going to make their team so much better this year.
Mm-hmm.
I could see a lot of teams. I don't know if many people are going to trade up, but I think that a lot of teams are going to try and trade back to just get more picks, because there's a handful of A players and B plus players, and then there's like just a ton of B to C players, and the draft doesn't start falling off. Like there's some years where like we get toward the end of the first round, I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't know how much meat's left on the bone. This year, I think going back to the third round, I'm still going to be getting excited about some of the players, like really excited, like starting level talent players.
Yeah, I think a lot of playoff teams can add like contributors right off the bat. Like if you have draft picks, like a team like the Rams, I know they don't have. Do they even have a third round pick in this draft? Whatever they do have, they can probably find. I mean, they should be able to find a contributor at the very least if they do have any picks.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered all the trenches. Any other thoughts for you guys?
Not for me.
All right. So that does it for the show. Thanks for tuning in. I just kind of recapped it, but we covered the trenches for the 22 NFL draft, offensive line and defensive line. This should be podcast episode 7 for the show. No interference. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. Who's your favorite defensive end? Who's your favorite offensive lineman? Do you think this draft sucks? Do you think one position is deeper than the other? Any sort of question at all, we would love to respond, get a little chat going. But we appreciate all the fans. Again, West Side, Big Sass, The Bull. This is No Interference. Adios.
Bye.
Peace.